Over the years, NXT has changed a lot. From a game show, to the home of the best professional wrestling in the world, to now being this kind of hybrid between great professional wrestling and new stars rising up. But one thing has always stayed the same, and that is when you watch NXT, you know that you're watching the future of the WWE. Where will the stars of NXT be when they go to the main roster? That's what we're going to talk about today, as we're going to look at some of the top stars in NXT right now and where I predict they will be once they join the main roster. First up, we have the current NXT champion, Elia Dragonov. With Ilja, I feel like he's one of the more easier ones to predict. Ilja is someone who has a great history with the current Intercontinental Champion Gunther. So it feels like a natural step in that direction that Gunther loses that title to Ilja, maybe at a WrestleMania. I feel like this should happen sooner rather than later, and I feel like Ilja is the perfect man to dethrone the historic reign of Gunther. After this, I believe Ilja can have a fantastic run and continue the legacy of the Intercontinental Championship being the workhorse title of the WWE main roster. Next up, we have Carmelo Hayes. With Hayes, I feel like it's easy to say where he would land in the WWE landscape. WWE have already shown interest in putting Carmelo Hayes in the US title scene, as he was a part of a tournament to decide the challenger for Logan Paul. So it would be natural to assume that Carmelo Hayes would be going after that US title. I feel like Hayes would be a perfect United States champion. I feel like he would have a great run on Smackdown with the amount of opponents he could have. I feel like if he were to go against Logan Paul, if Paul was still the champion, they would have an absolutely fantastic feud. And you put him in the ring against other stars like Santos Escobar, Austin Theory, and anyone else in that mid-card scene, and I feel like Carmelo Hayes would absolutely hit it off. I feel like the US title is the perfect situation for Carmelo Hayes, and after a few months, after a fantastic reign, I feel like Carmelo Hayes could elevate himself to the main event scene. Moving on, we have Tiffany Straton. With Straton, I feel like big things are planned for her future. I feel like she's going to be a WrestleMania main eventer. I feel like she's going to be a multi-time world champion. She's going to be in the same category as the likes of the 4 horsewomen, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, where no matter what she does, she's going to be successful. I don't know how long it will take for her to get there, but at the end of her run, she's going to be a top star. And if I were to predict, I would say sooner rather than later. I feel like she's going to have a big splash in her debut, maybe go after the likes of Charlotte Flair or Bianca Belair. I feel like she's going to win, and after that, her trajectory is going to continue to go up and up until she's a world champion. I feel like in a year or two, she's going to main event WrestleMania. I feel like she's going to win the Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank. I feel like she's going to do it all in her time in the WWE. Very big things are planned for Tiffany Straton in my opinion, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds. Next up, we have Charlie Dempsey. With Dempsey, he isn't going to be as successful as the rest of the people on this list. He's just not at that level when it comes to star quality. But I feel like he's still going to have a successful run on the main roster. I feel like he's going to be that mid-card workhorse. Not someone who's going to be very successful, but someone who's going to have these great TV matches against the likes of Cedric Alexander, Dragon Lee, Rey Mysterio, and the other likes. He's going to be on the losing end most of the time, but he will get those surprise wins, and I do feel like mid-card titles aren't out of his reach. I feel like he could be an Intercontinental Champion, especially with the workhorse representation that title has, although much later into his run in the main roster than, let's say, an Elia Dragonov. I feel like in a few years of being in the main roster, the US title could be in his reach. Maybe you could have this fun story where he tags with someone who is completely the opposite of him and he could go for the tag titles. I don't really see a world title in his future, but I would love to be proven wrong. And finally, we have Braun Breaker. With Bron, I feel like he's going to be the most successful out of anyone on this list. He has World Champion written all over him. He has WrestleMania main eventer written all over him. Braun Breaker is going to have an absolutely incredible run on the main roster. I feel like he's the type who would immediately dethrone whoever the world champion is at the time, especially if it remains to be Seth Rollins. CM Punk's entry into the WWE does make it a bit more difficult than maybe it previously would have, but I still feel like there's a good story of Braun Breaker beating CM Punk soon after coming to the WWE, kind of like this Brock Lesnar type of run where he immediately goes and has a nice 3 to 4 month establishment run and then goes after that world title and wins it. Speaking of Brock, I feel like Braun Breaker could be the one to retire the Beast Incarnate. Overall, Braun Breaker is going to have an absolutely incredible run on the main roster and I cannot wait for it. But what do you guys think? Where will these NXT stars be once they join the main roster? Let me know in the comments below, and also let me know if you'd like a part 2 where I look at other NXT stars. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you're interested in this type of content, and have a great day.